Hello everyone, this is Chris from McCrake, and today I'm here with a video that's telling you a trivial story that's about burnout and about taking stock and about a book called The Incredible Secret Money Machine. And really this is a celebration of the channel reaching 1,000 subscribers, and I wanted to tell you something that's about my experience of making the channel, how it's very positively affected my life. Now for those of you who don't know, hello, I am Chris, and I usually make videos about music technology, synthesizers, programming software, all of these types of things, making music, things like this. Check out my videos if you're interested in any of that type of stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to be telling you this, like I said, trivial story. So it starts very dramatically in 2022, and I am feeling quite depressed, quite down, melancholy, sad. I don't know what you want to call it. I was feeling down and I wasn't feeling myself. And it had been going on for a period of time here, for a large part of 2022. And, I wasn't feeling great. It wasn't good. It wasn't a fantastic situation. And it was made even worse by the fact that everything was fine, right? Everything was fine. Nothing disaster. I'd been through much harder stuff in my life, and there was nothing really to worry about. I got a wonderful family. I have an excellent job and all of these types of things. Everything was fine, but I was still feeling kind of down, right? And I'll get back to how this relates to the YouTube channel. Most importantly, things got better. This is a story about how things got better and how this YouTube channel was important for that. So by the end of 2022, I'd in a stage of burnout, right? I think this is what they call it, right? Where everything had got on top of me. I was really like ground to a halt. I was not feeling good about things. And I thought, things needed to change. I wanted to spend more time with my family. I wanted to have less meaningless demands of my time because I felt like I had lots and lots of little things that didn't really satisfy me that I had to do every day. And it just really wasn't making me very happy. So I thought, right, I don't want that anymore. And I wanted to feel more productive. And I think that this is partly to do with like career stages and how things change and how your ideas about what productive and what's not changes over time. Anyway, I wanted to feel more productive. This was the idea. And so I decided very dramatically to quit my job, right? And I said, okay, in 6 months' time, I'm going to quit my job, right? And I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do something that makes me happier and fulfills all these things. But what would I do? Because I'm a scientist, my everyday life. This is a side thing. And so it's like, what would I do? What would I go and do? Well, a year earlier, I'd made this YouTube channel, and I had made it for January 2022, right? So I was wanting to make songs and music, and I wanted to share them, right? Like just because it's fun to see what people think and hear their input, and everybody else is doing it, and it's nice to feel like you're part of a thing. And then I made some tutorials, and I shared some tools I had made, and this was all great. And then this happened. I released a whole bunch of stuff over this period of time, and then it got to this stage where it was pretty intense at work, and it wasn't a huge fun. I didn't have much capacity to do anything else, or so I thought anyway. And I thought, well, can YouTube be an element of my plan? Now, I'm not so naive to think that I could make money off of YouTube, right? Like I got this tiny wee channel, and it's too unpredictable and whatnot. But I thought this is fun. I enjoyed doing it, so maybe that could factor in. So here I was at the end of 2022, and I was thinking about this, like, what would I do? What would my plan actually be? So I made a plan, and I thought, okay, I don't want to leave my family destitute. I want to be able to keep on maintaining my responsibilities and things. So what could I do? So I really realized I could tutor part-time in biology, chemistry, and computer science and stuff that I do as my day job. And I could tutor in it, and I could make not all of the money back, but a good chunk of the money. The way that the UK tax system works, I could get a good portion of that back. I'm working about 20 hours a week or something like this. And then with the remaining time, I would do software engineering stuff, which I was already doing, and I'll get back to in a little second, making generally for sort of audio synthesis and tools to do with music technology and things. And then I could maybe do, for the remainder of the time, some YouTube stuff and keep on growing that. And it was fun. I was enjoying it. And so who knows where it might go. It would be an interesting part of the puzzle. So this was the plan that I made. And I went to speak to my wife about this, right? Like, and this isn't great. You're going to your partner and saying, whoa, I'm going to put our family in financial peril because I'm feeling a bit sad, and really, like, I'm not one to trivialize this for other people. I know people go through very difficult stuff, but this, it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't a terrible situation, like I said, but I wanted to change something. So I went and I spoke to her, and she was incredibly supportive. And she says, yes, you know, I want you to be happy if that's what you're wanting. We've been together a long time, and I went with this plan. It's clearly I hadn't just decided, I'm gonna pack it all in or whatnot. But she was very supportive, and she got me this paperweight made with the logo from the YouTube channel, and said, you can, yeah, I think you can do it. I bet you make a success of it. And on you go, I'm like, do that. If we can get back to this point, then where we're on an even keel financially, then I'm not too worried about it. So great, I went off and I started actually getting the gears rolling. Was that the wheels turning? Gears turning? Anyway, I registered a company. This was the first thing I did. And, this felt good. I was like a business entity that I could go and start making money and doing all of that stuff. And did all the gubbins that's associated with that. I started working. I worked very hard over the sort of whole Christmas break on this web application that I've been working on called MIDIsurf. It's a web-based MIDI controller. You can use it now, actually. It's totally free. You can go and use it. And I released this, and I started making videos about it and getting feedback about it. And it's great. Like, people have been using it, and it's a really satisfying thing that people are using this anyway. So I released that, and then I started making a plan for longer term. And I researched the business side of things because I didn't know anything about this. I'm a scientist, and I've been in academia for like 15 years or whatever, and I didn't really know how do you go about these types of things. I had no idea. So I started researching it. When I was researching it, I came across this book, and it's called The Incredible Secret Money Machine, and it's by a guy called Don Lancaster. It came out in 1978, and you think, like, what is this book? It's kind of weird, right? It's got this sort of hippie aesthetic. He's like a silent generation, like 1940 or something like this. Really weird seeming book. And like I said, the strong sort of hippie aesthetic. And the reason I came across this when I was researching this type of stuff is like, how do you make money off of making like audio stuff? And how would you make a business? What kind of scale do you need to work at? And Picanet, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, I'm afraid, of Mutable Instruments. They made, they've got a little website that they made that talks about their experience and how you get into this. I imagine they get asked about it all the time. They make mostly Eurorack modules, I think, but as well software synthesis as well. And it's really interesting. It's a really valuable resource. I read this. Now they talk mostly about electrical engineering and all this stuff. And at the end they said, well, for all business considerations, just read The Incredible Secret Money Machine. You'll learn everything you need to know. So I was like, okay, all right, well, I'll have a look at that and see what happens. So what is the premise of this book? And I advise you go and find a copy and read it. It's really cool. Or I think it's really cool anyway. It resonated with me. An Incredible Secret Money Machine. Don Lancaster says that this is like, the premise is that you have this incredible secret money machine which you put some nickels, it's American, some nickels in the top, and then more nickels come out the bottom, right? Then you put in. And that's all it is. And it has a bunch of properties about it, right? This machine is based on something that you're passionate about, right? This is one of the major principles of it. It's got to be something that you're passionate about. Now, he uses very sort of hippie language about this. It's like it's got to be your jive, or it's got to be your, I can't remember, you've got to dig it, something like this. I can't remember exactly how he describes it, but he talks about it in terms like this. But basically, you've got to be really passionate about it. It's got to be your major motivating factor is that you care about this thing and you want to do this thing. Okay, so that resonated with me. I like doing this stuff. I like teaching people about programming. I like teaching. I like doing the music and stuff and making the videos. This was fun. So I thought, right, great. I can do all this stuff, and I'm happy about that. You got to want to stay in control. Now, a lot of the problems I had with my job around that time, I really think was kind of like feeling that I wasn't in control. I wasn't dictating what I was doing and stuff. And so, again, this was an important factor. Like I thought, okay, how can I stay in control? He says that your aim, this is not like your ultimate, like what happens, but your aim should be to gain enough income to keep your secret money machine going, right? This is pay your bills, feed and clothe your family, all of this stuff. But then apart from that, just keep it going, right? It's got to be sustaining. And that's not to say that it's wrong to make lots of money or want to make lots of money with it. That's not it. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that this is kind of like, it's not your major goal. It should be sort of passion driven. And if you can keep it going and it's self-sustaining, then that's enough. And that, again, I'm not really driven by that hugely. I want to be able to pay my bills. Like I said, I want to be financially secure and stuff. But beyond that, got pretty simple tastes and things, so it's not it's not that bad. And then the last thing is be gentle again with this hippie aesthetic. Be gentle to yourself. Be gentle to those around you. It should be, if it's a hard process, if it's a difficult process, then a painful process, then it's probably all the time, maybe, then it's probably not working right. This is not what it should be, a gentle process. And I was like, okay, like I could go for a gentle process right now. Now he talks about this and he says this kind of general approach. Now obviously it would work as like a side hustle, as you today use the common parlance, or it could be your major job, or it could be you could apply it inside an organization. And so it got me thinking in terms of this, and about these values and things like this. Anyway, so I came across this book and it's good. I really recommend reading it. It's very interesting, totally different take on sort of the entrepreneurial stuff. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not nothing like this. It really resonates with me. Like, I'm interested in businesses and how they work and stuff, and I just don't want to do the sort of apprentice style, that type of business. Anyway, nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's just not what I'm into. So I went back to work after this period of being off. I'd saved up I had a lot of holidays to get off, quite a long break for the Christmas period. That might have been something to do with why I was feeling so run down, if I'm honest. Anyway, I had this period off, and I wasn't dreading going back to work. In fact, as soon as I told my wife about my plans and stuff, I wasn't dreading it. But I went back really focused, and I thought, I'm going to be leaving in the 6 months. But I did not want to leave things in a state like, I like my job, I like my colleagues, and I wouldn't sort of, it wasn't just wanting to just walk out or whatnot. So I wanted to focus on the things that were important, finish projects and things, leave things in a good state, and then off I would go and do my other thing. This was my plan, and so I kind of changed how I was working. I changed my major approach to things, and I kind of took this incredible secret money machine type approach, and it sort of worked. It seemed to take it and apply it in this different context. Meanwhile, I kept making videos, and I kept on writing software, updating MIDI-serve, making tutorials, other bits and pieces, and working on a much bigger bit of software, which I'll talk about in a second. So a strange thing happened though, right? Like during that whole process, all of a sudden, I started to enjoy my job, right? And I don't think this was just cold feet. I don't think I was just kind of getting worried about what was coming or whatnot, and Stockholm syndrome or something like this. I genuinely started really enjoying my job again, and I have in the past. I've always enjoyed it, right? This is the reason I've worked on it. So, it's not wildly out the realms of possibility that this would happen. But why? Why was this? I started thinking about this, like, why is this? And really, I'd realized that a lot of the changes I'd made had actually had a very positive effect, right? Like my entire focus was no longer my job, and weirdly, paradoxically, I enjoyed my job more, and actually things went much better at work. And why was that? Well, there's a few things. Like I avoided a bunch of distractions, things that you think are important at the time, getting involved in various different bits and pieces, which nobody's asking you to do, you're volunteering for, and there's no real benefit to you from doing it, and nobody really cares if you do it, right? It's just a thing that happens, like newsletters and things, reading these types of stuff and getting all involved in that type of thing. Doing your job is the most important thing, right? And doing the things that are important, which comes to the next part, like really focus on the stuff. I was focusing on the stuff that I was good at. I was minimizing the stuff that I felt I was not particularly important or I wasn't particularly good at. And I wasn't like just ignoring it if it had to be done. Of course, there's some things I have to do that are like that, but I definitely minimized it. I stopped spreading myself too thin. I stopped volunteering for a whole bunch of stuff, which just really wasn't that important. Nobody was expecting me to do, and it's kind of just like you get into this situation where you're doing that over and over again anyway, and it's not a good thing. It's not good for you, and it's not good for other people as well. After all that, I enjoyed it so much that I decided I'm not going to leave, and I still enjoy my work. I'm still doing my job. I do this on the side, and I decided not to leave, and I'm really glad that that was the situation. I just took stock of things. I changed my approach, and that seemed to fix things, and that's good. Now, what happened sort of after that point then? Well, I kept making videos, and I've made a whole bunch more. Hopefully you've seen some of them. Maybe you haven't. If you're not, please check them out if you're interested in music technology stuff. I was working on a big project. I still am working on this project, and it's very close to being ready. It's a keyboard, an audio tracker called Lattice, and it's the ungodly offspring of a DAW, a digital audio workstation, and a text editor called Vim. And I think it's pretty cool. It's got some cool features, and I'm hoping to show that. I definitely will show it over the next few months. My business made some money. This is cool, right? Like people paid for, even though I didn't charge money for it. I had the option of taking donations, and people made donations for the tutorials I made and for the software that I wrote. And this is really neat. Like I've made some money, not huge amounts of money, but I mean more than more than I ever made from a business in my past. So this is pretty good. And of course, the most important thing, the purpose of today's video, I've eventually got 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, and I understand, right? This is not the biggest YouTube channel in the world, but I really enjoy making the videos, and I really enjoy interacting with everybody, hearing about their experiences, trying to help where I can with some of the tutorials and programming stuff. Even some of the more negative comments, some of them are perfectly reasonable. They're negative, but they're perfectly valid. Some of them are very amusing or weird, and I've not really had a negative experience to do with any of this. And in fact, it's been a very, very positive experience. So, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And it's been a really valuable experience. So what did I learn? Now, I want to restate. This is a trivial example, right? Like this is not a disaster. I don't think that this is not some spiritual awakening or something like this. It's just a little story about how this YouTube channel has been a really positive thing in my life. What did I learn? Well, I learned that you can make some very small changes and it can make a really big difference. Really, practically, not a huge amount of changes at my work, but I really enjoy it now. And my focus shifted. I think that's like a good way to think about it. I still work a lot and do all that, and that's fine. And I make music and I make videos and I do stuff on the side, and I feel much better for it, right? Like it's got a sort of creative outlet and things, and it works. Talking to people helps. Telling people how you feel. I mean, I'm sure that I'm not the first person that said this, but it took me a while to realize, like, talk about it, and it gets better. Making things is fun. I still love making things. And I would make things even if I wasn't sharing them or not, but sharing them is even more fun. Right? Making things and sharing them with people is even better. So that's a good thing, and that's another really nice aspect of this YouTube channel. So thank you again to everybody that's watched and liked, commented, subscribed. I'm going to keep on making videos. I'm going to make about music technology and my songs and other things like this. If you like them, great, thank you. I really appreciate it. If you don't, you can tell me you don't if you like, that's fine. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch it and all the people who have liked and commented and subscribed. And I hope that this is, at the very least, interesting, even if it is boring. Or at least not boring and maybe not useful. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you watching, and see you in the next video.